Exactly.
We've got Laurie Lyons, local attorney. Many years you did work in this field, sexual harassment, civil liberties, etc. And this can't be a perfect timing because there's a session tomorrow called Sexual Harassment in the Workplace. It's being hosted by the YWCA of Northwest Louisiana. And Laurie, you're going to lead this discussion. What are some things we need to know about sexual harassment in the workplace first off?
Well, it's interesting that this is coming back up. I mean, I feel like we've had cycles of sexual harassment being newsworthy for 25 years. It's interesting that it's come back up again. We talk about sexual harassment. It's a very broad term. There is sexually inappropriate conduct for sure. Now, whether it arises to the level of having a legal claim so that you could file a lawsuit, there's a legal definition for sexual harassment, and it can include, well, what we call sexual harassment or unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical harassment of a sexual nature. And it's illegal when it is so frequent or severe that it creates a hostile or offensive work environment.
So
does it have to come from a superior at your work, or can it be just from a coworker?
It can be from a coworker. It can be from a supervisor. It can be from the owner. The difference will be how much you have to prove in order to have a legal claim against them.
Ms. Laurie,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, you said severe. Who determines what is severe, or is that eventually up to the court or some other body of deciders?
Right. It's up to the jury or the judge, whichever you have deciding it. And that's one of the things that's frustrating about the law is they only give you guidelines. They don't say, if you touch an arm, that's okay. If you touch a breast, that's not okay. They're not going to do that. They're going to let you decide at what point is it this is just totally inappropriate, it's severe enough. And usually when we're talking severe, we're talking about physical touching. If you have the occasional off-color joke, those are just not going to do it. That's not good unless it is just continuous and they're constantly putting down women or making sexual jokes all the time. And in that situation, it has to be so frequent that it really does start to interfere with your job performance or how you're feeling at work. It's not an occasional isolated event.
When I know Charlie Rose is certainly an extreme, knock on the door and he answers naked, but I guess the question is that are there so many instances, a number of instances where women don't say anything because the harasser, that's why I brought Charlie Rose up, that they're not going to believe you, or I am worth so much more to the company than you, it won't matter if you complain.
Oh, that's absolutely true. And it doesn't have to be somebody as famous as Charlie Rose. It can be just your supervisor himself. I mean, in many situations, you just don't have the ability to just say, I'm out of here, or I'm going to the boss, and if they fire me, then that's fine, I'm out of here. Because most people need their job too much. And they're also afraid not just if they go to another job, that they are going to be blacklisted by that employer.
Laurie,
or by that supervisor.
What should someone do? Someone just in their office today listening to you, what is the appropriate action? Who do you go to? What do you do?
Right. The first thing you want to do is find out what the policy is. If they have any kind of written policies, find out what those are. And they should give you the procedure. I can't imagine any company of any size today that does not have a procedure for sexual harassment. And then you go to that and you follow exactly what it says.
What do you say? What do you do if you're the victim? Is it good? I mean, I would say, I would look at the person and say, do not ever do that again. But some women don't feel like they can do that. Their job may be in jeopardy. Right.
But that's what I'm saying. When you go to the policy, it'll tell you, it says if you have been sexually harassed, you need to report it to Ms. A or Mr. B. and or human resources or whatever the appropriate thing is. And so you do go to them. And there, there are situations that if something's inappropriate, you should speak up, I think, and say, that's inappropriate. And again, it's the degree. If something's just a sexist joke or something, it's easier to say. If somebody walks in naked, I mean, that's just
over the edge.
That's ridiculous.
It boggles the imagination, doesn't it?
Why do you say, "Oh, don't do that to me again"?
Right.
I mean, that really, you need to report that.
Sure.
Don't knock on his door. Do you think at any point with all the names and all the stories and everything snowballing, so to speak, is there any concern on your part that we're reaching a point of guilty until proven innocent, though?
No, I don't. You can check out those stories and you can find out, and there's usually more than one woman. And it's like all these women that are coming forward, they're not all lying. They're not all lying. Why would they put themselves in a situation of being ridiculed or harassed themselves for having even spoken up?
And I asked Erin this last hour, and I made reference to the ABC reporter, NPR reporter Cokie Roberts, who had said that the female press corps in Washington for years and years and years has known who these guys are, i.e. the Conyers or the Frankens, or the list goes on and on. But if all of them are known, what I asked Erin is, at some point, if all these people know, is there some concern on the part of somebody who might speak up that the other women who know won't back her up?
Well, yeah, they do have that concern, and if they don't know that the other people have their back, then they are more reluctant. If I was to know that somebody else or the people who are being sexually harassed, I could maybe go to the powers that be and say, I have a concern about this, that this seems to be going on. But I'm not really the one that can give the specifics if I didn't actually see it. For the people that did do it, yep, I think they need to go to other people and say, do you have my back if I do this? But that doesn't always happen, and sometimes you have to go it alone.